And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, the Absolutely Premier League show, talking everything Premier League, funnily enough. It would be rubbish if we called the show the Premier League show and then spoke about something else, so why not? Let's talk about the Premier League show. It's all a bit manic here. We've all made it, but it was all a bit chaotic behind the scenes. Everybody's here. That's the most important thing. And my co-host, let's introduce them. They have made it. And who's with us today? A very excited person who you'll find out towards the end of the show, where she's extremely excited. But Rebecca, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it was a very good weekend. 2 out of 3 of my teams doing well, which in what was deemed a doomed weekend for me, I don't think was too bad. But yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, to be fair, yeah, we were saying last week that if you had 1 out of 3, it was going to look pretty good between Everton, Accrington, and Dundee. You got 2, so you can't. Yeah. You can't do that. I'm not too bad. I was just explaining to you guys, I've been at my niece's 5th birthday party and I had to negate on a pudding. Otherwise, I would be asleep. After the main, I was like, no, it's not a pudding kind of evening. So plus I needed to get back for the pod. So I'm not too bad. I'm very excited to talk about the football, as I'm sure you'll realise why in a few slides' time. But and it's not just Rebecca's here as well. The Heather has made it as well. It's definitely a Tuesday, Heather. How are you?
Tuesday, even though I thought it's Monday all day, but hey. The weekend was good. It was it could have been better, but it was still good.
It was still a good weekend. I was going to say, how's your Monday? Because you almost feel like you've had 2 Mondays.
Yeah. It was all right. I was at work, so no change to a normal Monday.
There we go. Monday. But we're all here. We're all here to talk about everything. As are our wonderful chat. They've turned up on time, always punctual is Graham. Evening to Graham. Hope you're doing well. Hello to Sean as well. He's watching Reading Northampton with a thrilling 0-0 draw currently in the 34th minute. So hopefully something happens there for you soon, Sean. Hello to Jen. Lovely Jen as well. Loving the shirt, Bex, as well. So tell everybody who can't see who's on audio as well, because that might confuse them. What shirt are you donning this evening?
Well, it was only right to wear my Dundee shirt after Sunday, which we will get into later on in the podcast.
Well, indeed. I was actually going to shirt it up tonight. I was going to go football shirt tonight, but I ran out of time. It was either we go on the show and I wear whatever, or we don't have a show at all. So I've had to negate that. But I knew Rebecca wouldn't let us down with the shirt wearing as well. And Graham as well. Ipswich 0. Where's all the goals this evening? What's going on? Apart from Morecambe.
Morecambe's match.
It's 0-0 all over the place. Have we got any Champions Leagues going on as well? Has anybody seen the Champions League scores yet?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Champions League, but I've seen Napoli and something. Oh, Napoli, PSV.
Arsenal 0, Atletico Madrid 0, and another exciting goal fest. Newcastle 1, Benfica 0. Of course, Jose Mourinho visiting St James's Park. Man City are beating Villarreal. Guess who scored for Manchester City? Answers on a postcard, please, but it probably involves Erling Haaland. And we've also got Barcelona 6 against Olympiacos earlier this evening. Rashford scoring twice for them. Lovely jubbly. And there was goals and games everywhere, so I'm sure everybody in the chat will keep us apprised. But we're here to talk about the Premier League, because it's been an exciting Premier League weekend. And we're going to start with if we all fit on the new graphic. Isn't that wonderful? We're going to start with Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 3, because in a surprise of all surprises, Ange Postecoglou has been sacked by Nottingham Forest. 39 days. I think he only lasted 17 minutes after the final whistle. It didn't look good when Marinakis, his seat was empty for the whole of the second half, pretty much. And they wielded the sword on Ange finally. 39 days. It seems like since the days come in that we've been waiting for the axe. But Rebecca, shall we start with you? I was going to say, is this surprising? I don't think that's really the question, is it? But 39 days isn't a great tenure, is it? What's gone wrong, or what's gone right? Shall we ask?
I feel as though it's one of them. It was doomed from the start. I feel like the Forest managerial role at the moment is a bit of like, if you take it, good luck to you, because it's like there was a lot of unrest with everything with Nuno and Marinakis, like even before Ange came in. So it's like you've got that pressure, the pressure of, I mean, like Forest form hasn't been the greatest. So you're going into what's already a bit of like an unstable situation. So you knew that it would be really tough for him, and it didn't click and it didn't work. And you knew as soon as like the results weren't going his way, it's one of them. I think he was lucky to last as long as he did. And to say that after like 30 odd days, it just doesn't sound right. But yeah, I think he was doomed from the start, and I don't think there was anything that, apart from like a decent run, that could have saved him.
Yeah, it didn't work out at all, did it? It's been a crazy time, as you said. Like, that's such a short tenure. I think there's only one manager who's had a longer tenure, and I believe that was it Allardyce? Was it? I can't remember who it was. It was somebody who went in at Leeds, didn't they, for a month? I can't remember. It might have been Allardyce. I can't remember, but it was on a short-term contract. So actually, like a appointment and sacking, it's pretty mad. But as you said, Rebecca, such a short amount of time didn't work for him. But obviously, they had to change a very different playing style to a very, 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 very different playing style that kind of clearly didn't work. So clearly now they want to go back to their very clear sort of playing style. So who could they call? Who used to manage Everton? It's Dyche Baby time at Nottingham Forest. Rebecca, you're probably best qualified, I suppose, for us. Is Sean Dyche going to stabilise Nottingham Forest with a bit of defensive resolution again?
I'm really not sure on this appointment, but like I said, I feel like anyone heading into this job is just it's a wait and see. It's a hard one to be able to judge with Dyche because he's so fixed on like his way of football. So it is one of them where it's like, if that is something that could work for Forest, especially with their recent run of results, then he could be the guy to like pick them back up. But it is one of them where it does just become repetitive, the style of football and the matches that you're playing. So it's one of them where towards like the end with us, especially, it just became a case of fans were calling for like, right, change up the team a bit, see what we can add in, and he just wouldn't do it. So it's one of them where it's like you're playing for draws a lot of the time with him as well, we found. So it will be interesting to see how Forest fans take to him as well, to say if it is a case of like start off quite well and then it could well dip. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I thought that seeing him in the Prem was over after the hell of a few months that we had with him towards the end, but I think it was bound to happen, and now we just wait and see for when we play Forest, because we all know what could happen with that one.
It'll be the return of the ex-manager. The chat have got some things to say on it as well. Graham says, are we the three Chelsea scorers? I mean, yes, we're all goal scorers, but not in a Chelsea shirt. Thank you, Graham. Sean says, has anyone seen the Pathos red card here? I can't claim that I have. Fortunately, it wasn't on the telly where I was, so I'll have to catch that one later. Graham says, everyone always asking when Amorim would be sacked, and Ange's been sacked twice since he arrived. To be fair, he's been sacked in about 10 games, I think, that Amorim's had since the end of last season. And also says he beat Les Reed's 40 days at Charlton in their relegation season by 1 day. So there you go. Hello to Dylan's in as well. Hello to Dreety as well. Hope you're doing fantastically well. And yes, everyone's confirming it was Sean Allardyce that leads with the 30 days. Hev, will come to you on this one because Forest, in terms of the game itself, Forest played okay in the first half. Nothing special.
Yeah, they were actually doing quite well.
Yeah, they were. And then Chelsea blew them away in the second half. I mean, was that just the cherry on the top of the cake for...
Yeah, it's... Obviously, it's a bit of a poison chalice with their owner.
Would you want to work for him? I mean, he seems...
absolutely not.
Quite explosive.
I did see a thing saying that he was thinking about managing them himself. But I think that was probably like parody. I hope it was parody. I don't think he's got any like the coaching qualifications, but yeah,
I imagine that was one of those moments where he probably did think, I'm going to do, and someone had to say, you haven't got any, you can't, you actually can't do this.
I wouldn't put it past him to go and get them though, just because he seems to have that much of an ego. I could see them going the same way as Sheffield Wednesday, and people being like, this guy is just a nut job and we don't want to give him any of our money, and just refusing to go and stuff.
I think it's interesting because a lot of Forest fans seem to love him. I know like a few sort of back end of last season, and obviously because it went well and they believe that his ambition, they like him. It'll be interesting to see, and we'll have to get a Forest fan on to see what their views are. And say, if you are a Forest fan in the chat, let us know what do you think now of Marinakis versus. So I know quite a lot of them were defending him last season with all the stuff that came out with the Olawonyi and the disagreement he had with Nuno. Do you think it is turning with some of the fans?
I'd like to think so, because from the outside, it's just like you can see like his ego is just overpowering everything. And yeah, I know he said something about it's because Ange's Greek and he's Greek that he employed him, but it was just a mental decision in the first place, because completely different playing styles. It's not going to click. Like if he'd got him in the off season and he'd had like the pre-season to get the players used to it, then maybe, but not at the start of the season like that. It's just not going to work ever.
I always felt that Ange was going to be on a loser before he started. Do you feel Ange has been harshly done by? And do you think this is a real kick to his reputation now, having what he did at the end of last season?
No, I mean, obviously he's taken it on knowing what he is taking on. And he's obviously got a big payout at the end of it as well. So I can't feel too sorry for him.
Have a nice Christmas break. Get a nice Christmas break. Take a bit of time off, I think, after all of the nonsense that's been going on. But Rebecca, I suppose for Forest as a club, though, like really exciting for them last season, Europe and all the rest of it, and then obviously they've not started that too well. They've got a massive game this week in Europe because they've not been winning any games, which tends to be quite important in football, as we all know. Do you think this is a downward spiral for them? And do you think, because the squad's still pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, they're such an odd team to be able to talk about with, like you said, how well they did last season, especially. Like you thought, I know we mentioned it a few times on the podcast towards like the beginning of the season with predictions that it could have been Europe that stalled them a bit, is what we thought, but that doesn't seem to be the case because they seem to be being affected in like both the league and also Europe. So it's just a really odd one to be able to try and say. You'd hope that they can bounce back from like the situation that they're in, but I mean, they're already on their third manager and we've only just started the season near enough, so it's like they've got a very, very strong side. I mean, Morgan Gibbs-White being a standout player for them last season especially, and it's one of them getting him in the side and performing how we know that he can, but then also like just the setup of the team is going to be something that they do really need to focus on now, because we've seen, I mean, going from Nuno to Ange, such a different style of play, to then going from Ange to now Sean Dyche, which is again, it's just going to be, hopefully they can pick it up and hopefully it's not as bad as people are thinking and seeing, but I feel like this one could take a bit of time for them to get going with.
We've got to play them next, so that's going to be interesting.
New manager bouts, won't it?
Yeah.
We're waiting.
Well, they've not beaten us in 10 years, so...
They need to change it. They need to change a lot, and I think it makes more sense the way that they were playing under Nuno. I think with Dyson, he'll kind of galvanise a bit. I think like Rebecca said, I think there'll be a short term there needs to be some kind of reaction at some stage from Forest with that squad, I think. But how it all works out,
I think he'll keep them up. I mean, if Ange had stayed, I could see them heading for relegation. But I think Dyche will keep them up. It might not be fun for them to watch, but you have to take those punishments, as part of the price, really.
It could be effective for them at the very least. Graham says third manager before the clocks go back is never a good sign, but Dyche will steady the ship, he thinks. Of course, on the other flip side of this game was Chelsea winning out 3-0 winners. So, they picked up a vital victory that's now 2 on the bounce, having beaten Liverpool before the international break, etc. But one of the most bonkers red cards, the most unnecessary red cards I think you'll see. I mean, we know Chelsea love a good red card this season. I think they've got 3 already in the Premier League, like 4 in their last 6 or something in all competitions. It's insane. I mean, when you're 3-0 up, game's done and dusted. Last thing you want to be doing is picking up a second yellow for a stupid challenge halfway inside the opponent's half, as Malo Gusto did. It's going to cost them, though, isn't it, Heather, eventually? They continue to... Is this do you think it's because they're quite a young side and quite naive? Because obviously Maresca's trying to talk it down, but you kind of can't ignore the fact they keep getting sent off.
Yeah, it's probably like they are doing really well and they're obviously playing passionately. And when you're doing that, you can get a bit reckless. But they've got people like Cucurella in the team who obviously everybody loves to give a red card to. So that doesn't help. I don't know what the answer is for them really, but how many people can they have out on red cards before they say, "Oh, sorry, we can't field a team"? Like, do you think that could happen?
It's Chelsea. I wouldn't worry about that. There's five players in the squad of every player, isn't there? Every position.
That is true.
If there's a team with a squad, it's certainly them. But I mean, a good result for them. With what was going on at Forest, they're there to go there and do the job and sort of slowly sticking around there. And to be fair, they had Enzo Fernandez was out. Caicedo came on in the second half and sort of changed the game for them pretty quickly. Actually, when he was on, Cole Palmer looks like he's going to be out for a little bit longer as well. So, as Graham says, a good job that they have a squad of 90 players. This is why. Maybe this is the tactic. So it doesn't matter if we get sent off. As long as we get the result, we'll bring somebody else in next week. Who needs to worry about it? Right, I'm going to see, because there's a different button to try and move the graphics on. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what game pops up. And there we are. Of all the games that could pop up, Heather, Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. God, what a boring game you had at the weekend. What happened there?
A little bit better than the 2-0 shot last year.
Just a bit. So tell us about the game. See, Palace kind of had to come back into it. You started off really well. You've got a new goal scorer as well. Tell us about Eli Krupi.
So we were in the pub before the match, and the team sheet came out, and we were like,
"You're going to say you and Eli then? Were me and Eli in the pub pre-match?" And
no, with my friends from Bournemouth, and the team sheet came out, and we were like, "Oh, we have no striker," which I mean we did last year, and we ended up playing Dango Atara there. But this time they obviously had put in Eli Krupi, and it's only his 4th start in the Premier League. So we were just like, this is going to be a really tough game. We already thought it was going to be a tough game because we're probably sort of equal. And yeah, they are a hard team to play, especially at their stadium. But yeah, when he scored the first goal, we were just like over the moon. And then the second, it's just incredible. Obviously, shortly after the beginning of the second half, they tried to say that Senesi needed a red card. But yeah, that looked like a dive to me when I've watched it back. I actually wasn't up from half-time, so I didn't see it in real time. And yeah, then they scored, I can't remember which order it happened in now. We had two, then they got two, and then we got the third when Ryan Christie came on.
Ryan Christie got the third, yeah.
And then they got a penalty, which even the commentator was like, it is a 50-50 because both players were grappling each other. It went down as a penalty against Lewis Cook, and Lewis Cook was like, what have I done? Like, I haven't even done anything. The manager was having a go at him, or like they were debating about something, and he just looked really confused. And then it turns out it's Diakite that was grappling with whoever it was. Gahey, was it, or something?
I think so, yeah. There was about 3 separate incidents going on, wasn't it, at the same time?
And it seemed like that was a ploy by Palace for 3 of their players to basically try and get a pen. And because of the Senesi red card and the VAR situation, Jared Gillett seems to like, whether it's for a good reason or a bad reason, seems to like getting his name out there. So yeah, he was always gonna try and do something. But in the end, like with both teams being so equal, I think it was a good point. It just felt to us like a loss, and it felt to them like a win because of the way it happened. Whereas it has been the opposite way around, then we would have felt like we won, wouldn't we? So
that's it. A late equaliser was important, but they almost won it as well. I think there was Mateta had that massive chance, didn't he, in sort of injury time as well, which could have been a complete turnaround.
He skied that though.
He did score, and he missed some big chances during the game, yet still came away with a hat trick as well. He had about, I think, 10 on his own. I must admit, I wasn't too disappointed because he got 2 goals and Munoz set 2 of them up. So it was double fantasy dream team points for me in those 2 goals. So
that's his first league goal at home, though, wasn't it? And then he's got 3.
He got 3 and should have had about 7 if he had his shooting boots on. But yeah, I mean, that's a super entertaining game. It must have been
a great game for the neutral to watch. Well, you can't really watch it in the UK, but neutrals abroad.
There's plenty. Yeah, I was kind of keeping tabs on, like, you get like the final score soccer Saturday stuff, and they were constantly going back to the game, and constant things were happening, and watching the highlights afterwards. It was really an exciting game and a good advert between, say, 2 teams that have been playing really well this season. So I suppose overall, no team's going to be too disappointed with the throw. I mean, to get 3 past Palace don't concede a lot of goals.
No,
so
exactly.
That shows the strength.
And we were top of the league for a whole 60 minutes. So
this is it. As long as you've got that screenshot, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's all that matters. And Grimmy, our wonderful Grimmy, joins us. Evening, gang. He says he's shouting because he's in America. That's why it's all in capitals. You just need to make sure that we hear him because Grimmy's in chat. He has posted a second message. I've saved it, Grimmy, for the appropriate time that we can bring it up, and I will be bringing it up. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, a really exciting game, Rebecca. Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth versus Bournemouth 3 as well. How did you see this one go in pre-game? Did you think a draw, plenty of goals, or because Palace are fairly defensive and difficult to get past at times, but Bournemouth did the job?
Yeah, I had this one down as a draw. I think with like the form that both teams have been in, I know you can't really go really off one match, but like Palace falling to first defeat against us, you're thinking, right, need to pick up a bit. I mean, it's only 1 loss, but pick up. And then, I mean, how strong Bournemouth are at the minute, especially. It's one of them. It is going to be a very tough team to play against. And then with it being at Palace, it just started. It had it going either way, but it was one of them where we were at Aki and we kept checking the score and we're like, how on earth is this? Like 3-3, thinking, oh, like someone could nick it in the dying second. I was hoping for a Bournemouth win, but I did think a draw would have been a good result for both teams.
Exactly, and they both march on to other things. Jen's just got 3-0 up. Jen's scoring goals for fun tonight. Morecambe absolutely banging it in. Get in there, absolutely smashing it in there. Go on the Morecambe. But yes, an incredible game, an incredible 3-3. We'll see what both teams go on to do next week. Let's have a look. What have we got next? Next coming up in the list, I believe it was There is one come up here. Here we go. We weren't going to talk about that one, but I've clicked on it. So we are going to talk about that one earlier. Rebecca, you popped up on screen. I don't know what's happened. Man City Everton's appeared in my list. We did think, well, we won't go too detailed into it because this was the one of the three that didn't go well. We'll spend more time, I suppose, with your aspect on the Scottish game later. But that Erling Haaland fella got to grips with a couple of goals. And did you obviously know Jack Grealish because of the loan move as well? Was it a fair result? Man City 2, Everton 0?
Kind of. I mean, I'm not really going to say, oh yeah, it's a fair result, us getting beat, because that's not really fair. But
it's not fair in Rebecca's happy land. Not fair.
Yeah, like if they'd have just sort of got a point at least, and at least I'd have had but no. It was one of them, like we said, missed Grealish massively. I mean, Charlie Alcaraz came into the side. He did well, he did all right. Illiman and Dye is just on another level. Like, his skill is absolutely incredible, but I mean, I think we've all seen Beto's miss where I don't really want to go into that one. It hurts to see, and it's just one of them where it should have at least done better with it. It could have been a goal, but it wasn't to be. And then there was a bit of a shout for a handball, in which it's one of them where VAR and the Premier League have confused every single fan possible in terms of what is handball. Because they're saying that this Bernardo Silva one where he's sliding in, like his hands are out here, but it's on the floor. The ball hits his arm. They're not saying that's handball, but a similar incident happened with Tarkowski against Leeds. That was handball. Same happened with Dewsbury Hall. That was also handball, but this one's not. So it's all a bit, can we just know what handball is and all have it clear across the line of if it is or if it isn't, because that would massively help a lot of fans because it's a bit confusing at the minute. But yeah, Erling Haaland was annoying, decided to score twice, and it just went a bit downhill from there. And then the news has also come out yesterday that we are without Jared Branthwaite for even longer because his hamstring has gone again and he's had an operation today. So, never did I think I would say this, but I am very glad that we extended Michael Keane's contract in summer because otherwise we would not have had another centre-back, and somehow he's become one of our best. So thank you, Michael Keane.
Who thought Michael Keane would be your hero of the season come October 2025? But he is an important stone for him. And of course, Jordan Pickford did make some decent saves as well during the game to kind of keep them out. But Erling Haaland, Heather, it's gone back to the Erling Haaland of
2 years ago.
2 years ago, but Man City are almost playing to his strengths now, which seems not fair, really, because they're quite good, these strengths. I mean, how do you stop him at the minute? I think tough answer, I suppose. Shotgun. I mean, and that's not allowed.
Yeah.
But
Get what's that? I can't remember his name now. I mentioned him earlier, the guy from Chelsea. Get him to take him out.
What, just a sacrificial red card lamb? Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's about the only way. He's a robot.
He smashed. I think it's like 11 games or something, club and country
Yeah,
now at this run.
11 consecutive games of that he's scored in.
It's absolutely mad. He's almost scored as many as Morecambe are scoring this evening. Morecambe have gone 4-0 up. Jen is absolutely raining in the goals tonight.
Almost as many as Southampton scored in the entire season last year.
Almost, but not quite. And they're not doing too much better in scoring this season either, the way it's gone so far. I can assure you there. Rebecca, I want to get your view on an Everton take at the minute. At the minute, Moyes has said your striker role, Beto and Barry, is like, go on then, one of you take it. It's a straight fight and you can become the number one. Have you seen more of one over the other, or is that part of the problem? Nobody's really sure which one's the one you're going to end up starting number 9 with.
Yeah, honest, we're lost with a striker at the minute. Like, Beto had his decent spell last season, and we're thinking, right, like, we've got we've got him. He can come on, score a few, and like we've got a decent striker. Then signing Barry in summer, thinking right, we've got a young one challenging for the number 9 shirt. So we've got something going, and then we're getting more goals out of Illiman and Dye, Dewsbury Hall, and Grealish. So it's one of them. It's like you enjoy seeing goals coming from other places on the pitch, but you need your striker to be scoring, and there's chances where you're like, how on earth does he miss them? I think even I could have scored some of the chances that we've had, and I do not play football or run much. But it's one of them. It's like we are screaming out for someone that can just nick it and just takes the chances. It's one of them where you do see glimpses from both of them where you're like, right, we're settling in a bit, we're getting somewhere, and then it's like Beto's chance on Saturday, you're like, right, well, what's going on again? It's like, what, 3 steps forward? No, 1 step forward and then 8 steps back. So hopefully we can get it sorted, but feel as like Barry's still I don't know if you could, like, he's still settling in, learning the style of play that we're trying to do, and it's one of them where he's not had as long to be able to get the game time as Beto, so I feel as though giving Barry a bit more of a chance might help, but we just, hopefully they can get goals in, or it could be looking at another striker in January and spending a bit more money.
Good indeed. Loan deal for Calvert-Lewin, is that a possibility? Has it got that bad yet?
Let's not. We're not that bad. I think we'll end up like nicking one of our under 21 players at this point. Just say, I will put them up front. Or my theory is put Michael Keane up front when Jared's back.
Jared back and Keane up front.
Although no, we could actually do that because we've got right backs. So we have Seamus, because Seamus Coleman was playing for Ireland, so we know he can play like a good 70, 80 minutes. Get Coleman back as right back, Jake O'Brien moving back into centre back. So you've got Jake and Tarkovsky partnership, and then we've got Michael Keane up front.
It could work. It's a tactic another team has employed that might have come off dividends this weekend. Spoiler warning coming up. Never mind. It can happen. It can happen. We'll see. Barry versus Beto, Beto versus Barry. I don't know. We need to do a poll or something.
Your defence did really well, didn't they? They kept Haaland out for 58 minutes, which is quite something, really, when he's in the form that he's in.
It's a shot to nothing game, isn't it? It's a shot to nothing game. And who have Everton got next week? They've got
Tottenham.
Spurs. They have got Spurs. And doesn't that work well as a segue, funnily enough? Because we're going to talk about Spurs. Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2 in the earlier game on the Sunday of the 2. And it all fell apart in the end for Spurs. Aston Villa have now gone on an incredible winning run. They've had that really dodgy start to the season. They were really struggling to get things together, but Emery's got them a bit more resolute. They're back to what we know of them. And Morgan Rogers' header off the back of a fantastic performance for England is now doing it again in an Aston Villa shirt. He's really important to them, isn't he?
He's so important. It's another one that we missed out on with Scott Parker, because we obviously had him for, I'm not sure if it was a whole season or half a season. And he scored 1 goal at Luton away and did nothing else, and we were all like, oh no, he's rubbish, like, let's get rid of him. But I think it was just manager. But he seems to be doing wonderfully well for them. He went through a bit of a period of not doing so great, but he seems to be back now, so really happy for him.
Yeah, been really good for him and turning it round as well. And that second goal they scored from Emi Buendia as well. Very fantastic long ball, little sort of touch off from Matty Cash and buried it into. He's kind of been the forgotten man, hasn't he, Buendia?
Yeah, I've loved him since he was at Norwich, to be fair. I've always thought he was a great player. But yeah, I'm glad he's picking up with like goals now.
He missed almost an entire season, didn't he, with that horrific injury? And I think players like that do get forgotten, that, they're sat in teams of squads and, are obviously bought for a reason, and because of a long-term injury, it does take longer for them to kind of come back around. Suddenly to have that kind of injection of somebody new into the team. That's really important. And Tottenham, of course, have been on a really good run themselves. Thomas Frank's done a really good job with them so far, and then they kind of just didn't quite get it done at the weekend.
Do you think the late call on Romero?
Undoubtedly affected it, because I mean, him and Van der Ven have been excellent so far this season, and since he's taken
captain as well, isn't he? So
yeah, since he's taken on that captainhood as well, he seems to have calmed down a little bit. I mean, Romero's always a little bit on the edge, but that's how he plays, and I think he's a bit of a spicy player. But I think it's worked really well in that defence. So I don't think that helped. And I do think they've been doing well, considering the fact that you've got Kulusevski's out, you've got James Maddison's out. They've only just got, is it Kolo Muani? We've barely seen him yet. He came off the bench at the weekend.
Solanke's still out, isn't he?
Solanke's still out. It seems to literally be all on Mohamed Kudus's shoulders, and he's been producing, but didn't get anything kind of this weekend. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and I think it's only Spurs' second loss this season. Obviously, they lost to Bournemouth, of course, earlier on in the season, but I've been on a bit of a run. But when you look at those games and you go, okay, well, since the loss to Bournemouth, we all remember the Manchester City win. Their wins have come first day of the season against Burnley. You'd expect them to beat them at home. West Ham have been dreadful. They got a draw against Brighton, draw against Wolves, who haven't been very good either, and they beat Leeds. So, when you kind of take the context of those fixtures, you go, well, they've got a lot of big teams and games coming up, because that's a fairly reasonable run. And say they face Everton next, and they've got Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Newcastle away on the horizon. There's some real tests and challenges. Yeah. Do you think it could get a bit sticky for Frank in future weeks, with Europe to contend with as well?
I wouldn't say particularly sticky, but they might drop down the table a bit. He is an extremely good manager.
He's a very good manager.
And obviously, he's missing a few key players, but he's still got a good squad. So I think they'll be okay.
There's more to come in, and there's still players that, I think you're starting to see some players bedding in different teams now, but it's still fairly early. They've still got, like, Xavi Simons, has still not seen too much of him yet. I've been impressed with Bergvall this season. He's looked good. Pelinha's been excellent. I think he's a really good addition. Graham's scoring goals in the chat. So Charlton are 3-0 up at Ipswich. Absolute steamrolling it down at Ipswich today. That's a result and a half in the Championship coming in at the moment. Rebecca, what do you think of this one? Aston Villa getting a 2-1 victory over Spurs. Any notes or important things for you that you spotted from this game?
I mean, we've already really covered it of Ebi Buendia. Like, he was just like my main note of, like, amazing to see him scoring, especially with the injury. I'm same as Heavy, like, followed him since he was at Norwich, and like his link up with Todd Cantwell, and thought, it'll be one to watch, and seeing him doing well at Villa. Lovely goal from Morgan Rogers as well. Thought that was a very well worked one. It's just one of them. There's a few questions that need to be answered at Spurs. Let's hope they don't answer them this Sunday. Like, you can have a week to ask your questions and answer them a week after. That'll be fine. But yeah, it is bit of an interesting one with Spurs, just to see how they can bounce back from this. I hate saying that when they have got us on Sunday. It's like I don't want them to, but it's one of them. Bramley Moor, as I refuse to give it its actual name, is going to be a very difficult place for them to be able to go. So it will be interesting, but I do feel as though, there's some questions that need to be answered at Spurs. But I do think the pre-match with Romero did halt quite a bit for him.
It did indeed. Another man who was happy this weekend, our wonderful Dan, will be coming to the All game later. Don't you worry. He's given Leeds some stick. He's just back from his fan form. He's a very, very happy man, is Dan, and you'll see why he's happy when we look at the table, because he's not in the red. He is not in the red, which is not the place that anybody wants to be. That is for sure. Right. Where could we possibly go? Next when we look at the weekend of fixtures? What could we pick up? Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful, isn't it? Wonderful, isn't it? Lovely. For the first time since 2016, which is obviously well before I started doing this podcast, I can talk about Manchester United win at Anfield. Oh my word. Unbelievable scenes. On lists of stuff I thought I would be enjoying this weekend. That wasn't one of them. There was hope. There's always hope. There was a little bit of slight optimism, but there wasn't a lot of belief. What to say about it? What to say with it? I'll start with let's say a fellow person who enjoys a team, I'm sure, winning at Anfield. That isn't Liverpool. We'll start with Rebecca for your views while I try and contain myself to give you mine. Manchester United 2-1 winners at Liverpool. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely?
Oh, I did enjoy that one, I'll be honest. Yeah, it's one of them where I think this is the only weekend that I kind of want United to do well. No offence to United.
It's the 1 week a season I know I can rely on Rebecca to be on my side.
Yeah. I mean, incredible win. It was a very quick start as well, which you've seen all the Liverpool fans being like, they should have stopped playing, but fair play to the ref for playing on. I mean, the other way around, it's just one of them where it's like, if it was Liverpool scoring, I would have been saying, they should have blown the whistle, but because it's United, you're like, yeah, it's fine. No, it was a very well-deserved win for United. They were the better side. When Liverpool... Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Everton under 21s are playing. When it went to 1-1, I was like, right, this could go the way of which I think everyone was expecting. Liverpool will get a 96th minute winner and just ruin everyone's weekend. But up steps Harry Maguire, which I think you and Grimmy both predicted it last week when we were doing the watch along.
I need to find the clip. We were talking about it.
I think you both said he'd score and he went and did it. And I mean, a great goal, cracking header, but yeah, very well deserved win for United. And I think everyone but Liverpool fans were very happy with this result at the weekend, especially Arsenal fans, because it keeps them top of the table as well.
And Bournemouth.
Yeah, and Bournemouth in the top.
Keeps us above Liverpool.
Yeah. Just the downfall of Liverpool, I think everyone's got a bit of a smile on their face for.
We were saying in the group chat, as soon as it was like a draw at extra time, that's going to be 10 minutes extra time, and nearly was, wasn't it?
It wasn't far off. Yeah, I must admit, when it went 1-1, oh no, oh no, here we go. There was quite a period on the clock, but it was a funny one because there was obviously Liverpool had a lot of chances at times in that kind of second half, but it never felt like we were crumbling under the pressure, which has been a big criticism of this Manchester United side, particularly when they were 1-1. Once Liverpool had scored, you worried, but they did mentally hold strong and they defended pretty well. And yeah, there were some chances, but if you're going to win at Anfield, even when we were at our imperious best, you had to have some luck and you had to have moments go for you. That's just kind of the run of it. But they were offering... What's been different from that Manchester United side to previous fixtures at Anfield is we were offering an attacking threat. We were able to play out, and because Liverpool have been kind of so open in this sort of transition, you can get at them. There's areas to get at them. You know, between Kirkes and Van Dijk, and Bremer was having a great time getting sort of joy out of there. Bruno Fernandes should have put us 2-0 up in the first half after the first goal, which obviously Bruno took fantastically well. And as you said, Rebecca, like, it's one of those, I think, with the head, I can understand why, you know, you'd be sort of frustrated they should stop it and that, but it also happened so quickly that the referee's up with play, so I can understand him not seeing it because United have counter-attacked so quickly and it's happened. So it's kind of one of them, isn't it? But the rest of the game was just, at that point, you're expecting at some stage Liverpool to really click into gear and think, here we go. But it's similar to what we've seen in Liverpool this season, is it's been a bit stuttery.
Well, they've lost 4 on the bounce now, haven't they? So
it's 4 on the bounce. It's and it looked a bit second half. Arne Slot was chucking players on, and it was just, they were sort of playing 4-2-4, and it really was gung-ho, and you felt that, okay, well, we've got a real chance to break on them here and do something, and then Then we got a set piece, which they've not defended well so far this season. And Bremo took a shot, got blocked out. Bruno Fernandes, I don't think there's been enough plaudits for his pass for the goal, because that he sort of hit it on the volley perfectly into the box. Not a lot of players would have taken that on, I don't think. And of course, the man mountain himself, the Superman, Super Harry of Maguire. Grimmy was straight in my DMs, I can tell you that straight away. He was straight on it. He wasn't missing that for a trick. And just chaos ensued for that moment. But then there was still quite a way to go. Cody Gakpo had a header straight away afterwards, which he probably should have equalised. But it was just, for what has been a turgid United season, everyone's been kicking off at them every 2 minutes, pressure on Amorim this. It's a nightmare, not going anywhere, falling off. Even people talking relegation and nonsense. We're now 2 points behind Liverpool. We're 2 points off the top three, which is absolutely bonkers. And I've been saying kind of all season a little bit, I think the home form's been reasonable. We've played... I saw the other day that they were saying they beat Sunderland, a promoted side. And I'm going, everybody else is praising the hell out of Sunderland for playing really well and having a really good season. And actually, that's quite a good result where things are at the minute. It seems
Sunderland are like 6th or something, aren't they?
No one's beaten Sunderland. Like, we beat them a couple of weeks ago. So even that comes and that's kind of showing, I think, a bit of strength at home, but we hadn't seen anything away. There've been some really poor performances away from home. Obviously, Brentford was pretty pathetic in the Premier League a few weeks back. Grimsby was even worse, obviously, weeks before that in the Cup. But, there've been some sort of stuttery games. So it's the first time that we've Amorim's won back-to-back games, which we're not used to. So just hoping to try and build a bit of stability. And the problem in the past...
I'll have to get his clippers out soon.
A couple more. There's the possibility. I'd feel for him if it got to 4 and then we started at the 5th. Could you imagine thinking he's never... There'll be a point where he's like, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to have a haircut again in my life. This is just what's here. But as Graham says, odds on losing to Brighton next week. Now, this is now the question is, United haven't been able to back these kind of results up when they've done it. But for now, big picture and all the rest of it, I'm just enjoying the moment of a victory at Anfield. And Harry Maguire, what a redemption arc, Rebecca, for Harry Maguire. I mean, to be fair to him, he was getting slated. Everybody was sort of on his back, wanted him out. He could have the easiest thing for him to do would have been to have left Manchester United and try and rebuild and whatever, but he didn't. He's stuck at it and he's become an important part of the squad. And we saw it last season, even when things were terrible. He's our Michael Keane, Rebecca. This is the blueprint. This is the blueprint. When you need a goal, you turn to your main man. What a turnaround for Harry Maguire.
Yeah, it's been incredible. He's like your main man for your big goals at the minute, isn't he? So it's one of them where I feel like you always need that one player where, even though they have gone through the bit of a horrid time with fans and stuff, to then be able to come out, score the winner against Liverpool and just make his mark on what needed to be an important win and just make his mark on the squad again and just show I'm here and I'm staying sort of thing. It's one of them where I feel he's like a Michael Keane for us. We love him. Bit nuts, can have his moments, but when you need him, he's there. So it's one of them. It's really good to see, and it's great to see him coming back from it all. And you're always going to be happy when you score a winner against Liverpool, and feel like he might be deserving his statue soon at Old Trafford.
He's getting the statue, and the forehead of destiny, as I like to call him. As soon as that ball's on his forehead, it's good night. And the fact he was sliding on his knees for the celebration, all of it was just perfect, just absolutely perfect. But alongside Harry Maguire, a lot of performances that starting to sort of show promise. It's early days for our new goalkeeper, Sen Lamem, but he's showing at least a bit of confidence. He's giving the back line a bit of confidence that so far, touch wood, he hasn't clowned anything in the back of the net, which is what we've been used to from our previous two goalkeepers. So it's nice to have that. But you've also got, I thought Cunha was fantastic. Cunha's close ball control, when he's in those sort of tight spaces, it's a bit similar to what you have, I think, with Semenyo, whoever. He doesn't lose it. He's very good at using his body and getting areas, and then he was picking free kicks up during the end. just allowed us to get out that little bit. I think, while his golden assist output hasn't happened yet, he's been excellent since he started. And Bumo gives us a bit of something else. And I actually thought, considering when I looked at the starting lineup and thought, oh God, we've got Bruno and Casemiro in midfield, we're going to get completely overrun there. But we didn't. Casemiro had one of his better games. We got a bit more of the classic Casemiro. And at least once he got booked, Amarin was like, well, you're off straight away because we know where that's going. We're not playing those risky games today. And Bruno was everywhere as well. So just from a United perspective, really positive. But I can't see everyone on Liverpool. Like, as you said, it's 4 games now, defeats in all competitions. It wasn't that long ago everyone was going, oh, here we go. They're not getting they're getting wins and not playing that well. That's the hallmark of champions, all of this. But it's not clicking, is it? There's a number of Salah's way off form. It doesn't seem to be clicking with him. Isak's not woken up at all yet. Florian Wirtz is now sort of 8-9 games, and while Liverpool fans are arguing he's doing bits at £108 million, you've got to start producing, and it's early days, but he's going to have to start producing if they're going to get anywhere near. What's going on? Do you think with Liverpool?
Do you think they've just replaced too many players at once? Maybe.
Probably. Some of them they had to, didn't they? Some of them they did have to do it, but it seems to be too much at the moment in terms of trying to change things. And I also think that some of their more senior players are
getting a bit past it. Yeah.
Well, potentially. Salah's not at it. It's the thing for Salah that seems weird for me is that when you see a player that's kind of, you think, on the downturn, you see physically the different deterioration, which I'm not really seeing in him. He never tracks back anyway, but like it's the touch. The amount of times he gives the ball away, or he's just sharp. And
do you think what happened with Jota has affected a lot of them? Definitely with Salah, it was one of his best friends and everything. So that might be accounting for that, as well as his obviously getting a bit now for a footballer.
I think there's a lot. I think that's definitely some of it. That in the background of all of this is it's going to be there every day. We say, oh, it happened and they've got to deal with it. But I don't know how you can, because you're at a training ground where you'll have memories with the guy. You'll have that, and it was like a brother to them. So everywhere that they're in that environment every day. And Salah was particularly close, I think, to him. So undoubtedly it has, and will continue to have that. And while sometimes it will galvanise them, sometimes it inevitably will be hard. But I also think it's the fact that all the players around him have changed. He's got no Trent behind him.
No.
And they played Bradley, Szoboszlai, Frimpong, all different kind of right backs. He's got now Isak in the middle, and he's been having Ekitike as well in the middle, different striker. There's obviously... from a footballing perspective, no Jota either, and it just doesn't seem like he's getting. It's not happening, but it's not. But it is Mo Salah, and I think that's what everyone's going. Well, it's still Mo Salah, and he's still, undoubtedly, we all expect. I'm sure at some stage this season he will go on a Mo Salah style run because he's that good. He's been one of the best players in the Premier League in the last decade, so you can't argue that. But what do you think of the back? Because Van Dijk, I thought, was poor at the weekend. I thought Konate was better than him. I don't think Van Dijk's been brilliant so far yet this season.
But then he's had change, as you say, with his partnership. He's had changes there, hasn't he? And
Konate's not been at it, and it just maybe this might, in the reverse, this might be the galvanising kick that Liverpool need to sort of go, okay, stuff isn't right at the moment. It's going to be people like Van Dijk and that will grab them by the horns and put them on the right kind of page. Because I suppose the worry for them is that Arsenal are now winning this year. Last year, when Liverpool dropped points, they dropped points, but they're now behind Arsenal, behind Manchester City. Does this change your thinking of what you were thinking where Liverpool were? Do you think, in terms of winning the title and all that?
It's so tight at the top at the moment, isn't it? I can genuinely see that Arsenal or Man City could win it, whereas before I thought, no, definitely Liverpool will win again. Look at their squad, but as I say, just seems to have crumbled a bit this year, doesn't it? It only takes a few games though for them to go on a run and
There's
get
still
back
so much
there.
quality, isn't there? And
Yeah, they've just got such quality in their squad. It's like last year they've been bemoaning their injury crisis, and they were bringing on players that I was like, you know, that would be a starter for us, and we've got kids on the bench, and you're moaning about it. But they just have, because you know it's Liverpool, so. Kirkes isn't doing well, but then he didn't in his first year for us, and he was kind of forced to go there. And he'd said to people that I know that he wanted another year with us to like polish off his game a bit more, because it's obviously very different playing in the Premier League than it is in Hungary or Serbia. And yeah, I think the fans are getting on his back a bit as well. So that
I'm surprised with Kirkes that they didn't bed him in a little, because Robertson's, you know, we understood why.
Robertson can still do a job, can't he?
Yeah, you'd think he'd pull it. I thought Robertson might even start against United. I could have seen that as a possibility, but they don't seem
keen on starting him.
No, they seem like that's kind of what Slot's decided that he's doing. And one of the things that Slot's been excellent at since he joined Liverpool has been the in-game management. You know, he's been superb at spotting the changes and making the changes and making a difference. But it does seem a little bit at the minute scattergun, chucking players, attacking players on the left, right, and centre like that. And there was one point I think United hadn't reacted to it, because there was an attack. They had seven attackers, and we had like our 5 back line, and it was like, this is mad. I mean, it's exciting, don't get me wrong, and part of me enjoys it. From if I was watching the game as a neutral, you'd be like, brilliant, do this all day long. But it's risky, and it's not working for them at the minute. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Liverpool, but they're going to have to start to get something together. But as I said, there's a lot of quality. Their attacking line can hurt many.
I mean, to be fair, most people love to see them lose, because their fans are a bit objectionable. So
I'm staying out of that one for today. The Liverpool fans will be giving me enough grief after Manchester United beating them, but for now, I'm going to enjoy that, and I'm going to enjoy the fact that, as Druigi says, it was Harry Maguire, the one and only, the man himself. Sadly, we have to move on from that game. I could talk about it all evening, but I will be fair to the games that we have in the list. I think we've almost covered all of them that we were going to cover, but there is one more that I'm looking to find, I think, that we haven't done. There it is. Yes, Burnley. We have to do this for Dan, of course. It wasn't just me who was very happy from the pod this weekend. There was Dan. There was also another man who was very happy, which we'll come to shortly as well. But Burnley beating Leeds, 2 promoted sides. Leeds don't seem to be able to score against Burnley, Rebecca. They couldn't do it last season twice. Burnley have done the business. Second goal was an absolute screamer as well for Burnley. They're out the relegation zone. Dan should be happy, shouldn't he? For good reason this weekend.
Yeah, it was a huge win for Burnley. I feel as though this one was going to be a huge one for either side. If whoever was to win, of course, we're happy that it was Dan and Burnley. It was a decent one after looking back on it, watching the highlights and stuff. It was a decent performance from Burnley. Leeds, again. Oh, Everton have just scored. Sorry. It was one of them where it could have been seen as a must-win for both sides, because these are the games that they look at when it comes to the fixtures of if we are to start a bit iffy, then at least we know we've got another newly promoted team to come up against and try and get that result again. So I feel like it is huge for Burnley and the step up that they needed to be able to hopefully get on a decent run and start picking up a few more points.
That's what they need. And
Wolves. They've got Wolves this weekend.
Wolves this huge for Wolves. That seems absolutely monumental, having lost to Sunderland. They've got that's massive on their backs. But yeah, what an opportunity for Burnley to go back to back changes. And Heather Scott Parker changed it up. He's decided to go for 4 at the back. I thought the 5 in the back experiment didn't work, so 4 at the back and a lot more sort of robust and saw Leeds off. I mean, is this Parker evolving as a manager from when he was with you?
Definitely from when he was with us, and he seems to have learned a little bit from the last 2 times he was in the Premier League, because Fulham he was really, really bad. With us he was really bad, and now he's just slightly bad. But he does seem to have evolved, as you say, and seems to have learnt a few things.
This is it, and a massive result for them, beating Leeds. And Leeds were pretty toothless, to be honest. I mean,
Leeds had a lot of the possession, didn't they? And they just seemed like quite wasteful. They weren't clinical enough in finishing off their chances, whereas Burnley just took the chances that they had, which were less. But
yeah, and so Chalner's goal was fantastic from distance, and Ugachukwu scored 2 in 2, having not scored at all previously before that. And those kind of things happen for you. Leeds, from what I saw, I think Aronson hit the post, and they had, I think, about 40 crosses that didn't seem to go anywhere. I think they're missing a bit of quality potentially out wide at the minute. Jack Harrison's not quite doing it for them, Rebecca, and they're missing out on, I think they're missing the Dan James and non-turn, all the rest of it. It's not kind of happening for Harrison there. But do you think that's a problem? The goals for Leeds, is that's what's going to let them do? I mean, they've had a decent start. I mean, in the 16th, they probably would have snap your hand off at it, but.
Yeah, the goal's definitely going to be a problem. Their defending is going to be good. That's always been the thing of Leeds. Of other teams will struggle against them because they just sit back and defend. But getting the goals is probably what you need in the Premier League, really, isn't it? So
it's quite important. You do need, and they've got a massive game next week because they've got West Ham. So some massive games down the bottom for next weekend, because West Ham have, as we'll come to again in a second, continued their trashy form at the start of the season in Nuno's first home game as well. So a fantastic win for Burnley. Get in for Dan. What a wonderful result for them. Very, very good. Very good. And we'll go and have a look at the rest of the fixtures just now. I'm not sure how this is going to do with this screen, but look who it is. He's appeared again. Harry Maguire riding in the battle. Who put that there? I don't know how that got there. Apologies. There's the fixtures. There we are. It was match day 8. So as we covered, Nottingham Forest losing 3-0 to Chelsea, and the end of Ange. Game we didn't cover, Brighton 2, Newcastle 1, which was a really good win for Brighton. Danny Welbeck is still doing it. Absolute superstar. What a professional that man is. I love a bit of Danny Wells, apart from the fact that they're going to Old Trafford next week. So if he could just have the week off, that would be lovely for Danny. You know he loves us, so please. But he always scores against us, so that's a worry for me. But yeah, Danny Welbeck is still doing bits. I think I saw something like every goal he scores is either an equaliser or a winner. It's never anything. Every time Danny Welbeck scores, it matters. So big win for them. And they beat Newcastle with Walter Marder scoring again for Newcastle. But again, a disappointing away result for them. As we said, Burnley beat Leeds 2-0. Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. And the only draw of this weekend's Premier League. Manchester City beating Everton. And another man very happy. Our very own Ant will be extremely pleased with Sunderland. Sunderland 2. Wolves 0. Played fantastically by all accounts in beating Wolves. And again, that's their 3rd win now this season already, which is absolutely priceless. Home win so important for a promoted side anyway. And as we're seeing the table, it's why they're so far up, and they've certainly deserved it and earned it. And a great way for them to bounce back, because they were Old Trafford, they weren't the levels that they played at, I think it's fair to say, in previous weeks. So for them to get back and oh my word, Wolves. Just after a couple of decent draws where they look like they were picking up a bit of form. It's just another disappointing result. And as I said, next week's Burnley. How big is that game for Wolves? They have to get something there. They can't be and I think if my fixture list is correct, it's at Molineux. So surely there's all the pressure on Vitor Pereira and Wolves to get a result there. We also didn't touch on Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, which brings Arsenal to the top of the table. Really important game for them. I think it helped put a bit of pressure as well before the Liverpool game as well. The other side needed to do that. They weren't doing that last season. Fulham's a place that they hadn't won in the last 2 seasons either, so they are sort of getting over the line. It's not massively exciting, if I'm honest, watching Arsenal sometimes, but it's effective, and their defence has only conceded 3 goals all season, and it was another set-piece corner to get them across the line. So 1-0 victory for Arsenal. Tottenham lost to Aston Villa. Liverpool lost to Manchester United. Harry Maguire scored the winner, if you hadn't heard. And the other game we didn't touch on, West Ham. West Ham on Monday Night Football were beaten 2-0. 2-0 by Brentford. It was Nuno Espirito Santo's first game, and I think in terms of at home, and I think it's really opened his eyes to the problems that he's got. Yeah, I think some of the Monday Night Football were describing the players some of the slowest they've ever seen in the Premier League from West Ham. And it's not easy to just... There's certain things you can do and tweak with tactics, but you can't suddenly inject pace that isn't there, I don't think. So
I love the fact they had Gary O'Neill on Monday Night Football.
Gary O'Neill was there, and Gary O'Neill was there to tell him what they're doing wrong, Heather. So things maybe...
Marvellous.
maybe are going to change. Graham says West Ham were abysmal. Jen says, what is going on with West Ham? I think it's been, to be honest, I think it's been probably years of slowly poor recruitment, that we probably haven't noticed. It's crept up. The weird one for me this summer is when they sold Kudus and then they've done barely anything. I think they've signed Mateus Fernandes. That's about it. But they've got no pace in that midfield. There was one point last night where Souček was in there on his own. And just like, that's just, I think sometimes leaving Bruno and Casemiro in there on his own scares the life out of me. Imagine, I love Thomas Souček's done a great job, but he's not a mobile midfielder to leave in the middle of the pitch on his own. Insane. But for Brentford, Keith Andrews, they seem to be revolutionising again. So Igor Thiago up front is doing bits, and they seem to be, considering they lost Mbeumo and they lost Vissa, and season before they lost Tony, they're evolving again. So fair play to Brentford, what they've been doing so far. But long way to go. Nuno's going to have to get his teeth sunk into West Ham, that is for sure. Because as we look at the table, there they are. They're sat in the bottom 3, as are Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Wolves. Imagine if it goes to West Ham versus Forest and Nuno manages. Imagine this was like the last day of the season or something. And then Nuno gets the win. Oh, could you imagine? That's the sort of stories. If you could write it, that could be pretty entertaining. And of course, Wolves sat at the bottom. Russ is here. We love you, Arsenal. We do, he says. Arsenal are top currently of the Premier League. They are ahead of Manchester City in second. And then Bournemouth, Heather. Bournemouth once again in the Champions League places. And ahead of Liverpool now. Ahead of Liverpool in fourth. Then you have Chelsea.
We've got Forest on the last day of the season, and we prevented them from getting promoted because initially our game was on a night where a storm had been and part of the stadium was about to drop off. So they cancelled the game last minute, and some of the Forest fans had already started travelling. And then we obviously played it like later on in the season when we had some of our players back that had been injured, because... we got promoted that night and they didn't, though they did get promoted later. They kind of hate us. So if we can relegate them and West Ham can win...
It could be epic. I'm just looking at the fixture. West Ham have got Leeds at home on the last day of the season. I mean, we're a long way off this. We're just imagining this at this stage. But it's just for fun. It could be very, very entertaining. Good evening to Rich is here saying good evening, all Everton fans as well. I'm not an Everton fan, but good evening to you as well, Rich. We have our very own Toffee with us tonight, so don't worry. And Jen has got a 4-0 victory for Morecambe and a clean sheet. Let us be the start for us. This is it. This is the start. This is the rise. The rise of Morecambe is coming. It's going to happen. So elsewhere, Chelsea, Tottenham were in 5th and in 6th, and there we go. It's all still pretty tight, but it's not a lot on that left-hand side. As if a one win. I mean, look at Manchester City a few weeks ago. Now they're sort of up in 2nd and had a bit of a run together. So it's a very good indeed. Now we've done all the Premier League chat. I think we've covered it all. What could we possibly have left to cover? All the weeks we could have Rebecca on to give us a Scottish roundup. There's a reason why she's very excited. I haven't done the fixtures in a graphic, Rebecca, because I don't think it's needed, because we don't need it. We do need the introduction slide, of course, though. Look, Rebecca's Scottish Prem roundup, of course, in the Dundee show. And yes, Graham's won as well. Congratulations to you, Graham. Well done. This is it. And it is because Dundee are there. But Rebecca is ready to give us her Scottish roundup. So there we are. Rebecca, take it away.
Yeah. So I'll do the rest of the matches, and then we will go to...
we're leaving it to the big crescendo ending.
So Falkirk came from behind to secure a 2-1 win away to Motherwell, with goals coming from Calvin Miller and Scott Arfield in the second half to secure all 3 points. Hibs secured a 4-0 win at home to a struggling Livingston side, who now find themselves bottom of the table. Aberdeen secured back-to-back wins. Never thought that had happened, so Dundee have helped with the first one, but with a 1-0 win away to St Mirren, they earn all 3 points, with the only goal in the match coming in the 96th minute. So leaving it late, but a brilliant result for them. The points were shared at Ibrox as Rangers secured a 2-2 draw against Dundee United. Rangers came from being 2-1 down in the second half, with Tavernier securing them a point in the 87th minute. Hearts remain undefeated in the league and top of the Prem after securing a 3-0 win away to Kilmarnock, but I don't believe Shankland scored.
It's right.
Hearts are doing very well.
As long as he gets that medal, it's all about the Big Shanks victory medal now.
And now to the most important match of the weekend.
Full screen Dundee.
Celtic suffered their first loss in the league away to Dundee. What an incredible performance it was from Dundee. They took the lead through a Clark Robertson header from a Cameron Congreve's corner. I was there thinking, right, stay calm, but oh my God, we're winning, because we were all on the podcast last time we played Celtic at home for the thrilling 3-3 of every time I spoke about a different team, Dundee would score. So, Cameron Congreve, wow, what a performance. I've seen so many posts on Twitter of him emptying his pockets after the match and Kieran Tierney being one of the people in it. He just couldn't handle him, and he was honestly incredible. Celtic did have a few chances in the first half, but defensive performance from Dundee was immense, and it was amazing to see. On the stroke of half-time, Dundee did double their lead through a Cameron Carter-Vickers own goal. I was really hoping that it would be credited to, oh my God, why has his name just gone out of my head? Joe Wesley. I had his song in my head, then I was like, why has it just disappeared? But Carter-Vickers own goal, we'll take it. So, half-time, my main thought is, right, we can't mess this up now. You're 2-0 up against Celtic. We know what Celtic can do, but get the tactics right, and it's ours to lose at the end of the day. But Celtic did make changes at half-time and they did come out quite attacking, but they were not getting past the Dundee defence. There was a lengthy VAR review for a potential penalty to Celtic, which I know Celtic fans are calling it was a penalty. It's not. It hits Digby right in the face, and you can tell it hits him in the face with how red he goes afterwards. Yeah, his hands are up, but there is no contact with any arm or hand. It was not a penalty, and VAR worked well for once, which we don't see often, but it was great. Dundee could have had a third through Ashley Hay, but his chance just went wide of the post. It was a very well-deserved win for Dundee. Great team performance. Another standout player being Ethan Hamilton. So, of course, I was very happy with him getting a lot of praise. He ran the midfield incredibly, made some really, really positive runs. I think he was involved in the second goal as well, setting that up and getting the ball high up the pitch. This was Dundee's first win against Celtic since 1998, and the first victory that was at home, and then the first all-round victory against Celtic since 2001. So it had been a very long time coming. And Sunday also meant Clark Robertson earned his first Scottish Prem goal. So this is 15 years and 86 appearances later, he finally got the goal, and what a match to get it in. So yeah, Dundee secured the full 3 points at home to Celtic and have bounced back from a bit of a disappointing run. So hopefully travelling to Falkirk this weekend and they will be able to continue this very positive little run. And yeah, I don't think I've stopped smiling since the match. So yeah, it was a very good one and very happy to be a Dundee fan.
There we are. Well done. What a win for Dundee, and a massive Scottish McBecker roundup, of course. Grant is, even as a Dundee United fan, he has to say up the D. He's so happy for McBecker, and of course, any excuse to show the graphic. It was McBecker's Scottish Premier. I might even just release this as a separate video this week. I think just out of the joy of the Dundee win. Who knows? But yes, we have some European scores coming through. Heather's been busy while Rebecca's doing a report. PSV Napoli, it's 6-2 now. Although McTominay, Ballon d'Or Scotty, as I call him, has got 2 for Napoli. That's all that matters. Never mind the 6 for PSV. The 2 for Ballon d'Or Scotty is the most important thing. Elsewhere, Arsenal 4, Atletico Madrid 0. Jesus. 2 for Victor Gyökeres. Gabriel, don't tell me that's another corner, for goodness sake. Surely not. Declan Rice to Gabriel sounds like a set piece to me. And Gabriel Martinelli scored as well for Arsenal. So they are 4-0 up. You've got Dortmund 4-2 up in Copenhagen. We've got Leverkusen. What is going on with all these sendings off as well? So Leverkusen and PSG are both down to 10 men, but PSG have just scored a 7th. It's 7-2 to PSG. Zabani got sent off, Heather, for Paris Saint-Germain.
Wow.
And Grimaldo missed a penalty. There's been penalty missed as well for Leverkusen. Absolutely insane. Goals everywhere. It's a 7-2 for PSG. Newcastle have beaten Benfica 3-0. Anthony Gordon and 2 for Harvey Barnes. And elsewhere we've got, as we said, PSV 6, Napoli 2. Inter Milan have beaten Union Saint-Gilloise 4-0. And Man City have just beaten Villarreal by 2-0. So it's a clean sweep for the English sides in the Champions League tonight. So
I've never heard anybody saying Harvey Barnes without doing an Northern accent before.
Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes. There we go. I'm as south as you can get at the moment, unless you're on the Isle of Wight. There we are. We've covered it all. We've done some Premier League, done a little bit of Scotland. We've given you some bit of European love as well while we're at it. But I could have done it this evening without my fantastic co-host. So where can everybody find you, Rebecca, for more Scottish musings, Accrington musings, toffee talk? Where can everybody find you? Formula 1, her game 2, ice hockey.
You can find my personal Twitter and TikTok, which is _Rebecca_shot_. You can find all of my Her Game 2 content at ASFC Her Game 2 and any of my current Matchday content with Accrington on the official Accrington page. Then you can find my F1 content with the amazing Jen, who is on the non-league show, and that is Girls in the Grandstand.
Wonderful, wonderful. And yes, Graham's legacy on the podcast is the Muckwook Becker tag that has been allocated to the Scottish Roundup now, of course. And Heather as well, where can everybody find you and all your wonderful musings?
Heathhug73 on all of the things that I put there.
There you go. All of the things, all of the socials. There's many of them. And you can find me at Sam Absolute FBL on all the socials, on Twitter and all sorts and all the rest of it. And of course, it wouldn't be the Premier League show without a Northampton Town chat, which seems to always be on the Premier League show. Luke telling us Northampton Town versus Luton Town. Nervous face on Saturday, October 25th. There you go. We love everybody.
Wilshire as their manager.
This is it, Wilshire in charge of Luton Town. But yes, you'll find me on all of the socials doing stuff now and again when I'm not doing podcast things. It's all very busy at the minute. There's plenty of exciting stuff. But what is certainly exciting, if I can find the right slide, is the Absolute Football Podcast. Yes, of course, we have 4 live shows a week. If you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, wouldn't that be wonderful if you could come and join us more regularly? And if you subscribe and hit that notification, you'll know when we go live. It's not just us. There's plenty of people in the team. I think we're up to like 26 or something now. We're like a classroom of podcasters between all of the shows. We've got plenty. But on Monday, of course, it is the absolutely non-league show with Shah and the team in collaboration with NL Full Time. That show was brilliant last night, talking everything National League North and National League South. They go through it all. That's on a Monday night at 8:30. You can catch us on a Tuesday. The Premier League show will be back next week. I'm not sure who's on next week. Somebody will be on talking Premier League, no doubt about it. And we are Tuesday at 8:30. On Wednesday, it will be Freya and Team Chaos as they talk WSL and WSL2. And I think this week they also have the League Cup, the Subway Cup, or more commonly known as the Sandwich Cup, as they like to call it in the group chat. That will be discussed tomorrow. Exciting times there. And on Thursday, you can catch Shah and the Rowdy Rabble with the absolutely lower league show, talking Championship, League One and League Two. And I think it's a double game week this week, if I'm not incorrect. So yes.
Yeah.
Is indeed plenty to be discussed. You can be a YouTube member. Wouldn't that be lovely as well? You can join us for some special episodes, behind the scenes stuff. There is some more content about to go up on there soon, where we'll be talking to each one of the team about their stories, becoming a podcast, all of that jazz. You can also get all the emojis and stuff in the chat. If you're on there, you get super chat stuff. There's lots of things. Check it out on the YouTube link. All the details in the description. We are live 8:30. The Women in Football series is also online as well. Do check that out. We've been speaking to fantastic women in football. The end of the first series has happened. We're having a bit of a break before she goes back at some stage for a second season. We've got plenty of good names lined up to do some more discussions. But we can catch us on Twitter, Absolute Ball Pod, YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast, same on Twitch, TikTok, Absolute Football Pod, Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _, Blue Sky, Absolute Football, and Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. There you are. It's wonderful. Everywhere, just literally everywhere. But thank you, everybody in the chat as well. We couldn't do it without you. All fantastic for joining us this evening. Hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy the football and get that statue built. Harry Maguire! Ciao for now.